Where people have taken financial advice and stuck with an advisor throughout the accumulation period, their retirement income is on average £13,000 a year higher than an equivalent person that had not taken financial advice.
I did have a mortgage. I had to refix it because the period ended and the mortgage would go up, so I decided to get a financial advisor who advised me incorrectly, put me on a long-term mortgage, fixed mortgage, and of course the markets crashed in 2008, not long after I'd signed up for the mortgage, so that left me paying a lot more than other people.
You know, I can remember in the 80s and 90s everyone was being told put money into a pension, and then Gordon Brown raided the pension funds and people lost a lot of money out of it. So, you know, it's what you advised at the time, but circumstances change, and in 2 years what I'm planning to do now, I may not be able to, or I may be able to do something even better.
We've seen people who've become quite disillusioned with financial advice and have walked away intending never to return to it. It turns out very much that it was their expectations of what an advisor delivers that were fundamentally wrong. Some of these people are expecting that financial advice will automatically lead them through to the optimum path for wealth maximisation. Whereas in fact what the financial advice will probably do is to help them understand their objectives and then help them build a strategy that leads towards securing those objectives, even though with hindsight it may turn out that a different product or a different fund would have made them much wealthier.
Well, I took out my pension when I was 38, hoping to retire at the age of 50, so I had to put in quite large amounts to build up the funds in that short period of time. When I got to 50, circumstances changed around my wife's health and around job security, so I decided to carry on working. I was advised by a very good and well-recommended IFA about a pension plan with Legal & General. I was very happy with it, very happy with his advice over the years, stayed with it. Now I'm at 62, nearly 63, hoping to retire at 65 and see what the options are when that comes around.
Regulation is a good thing. Tight regulation is a necessity. When I first started in the investment business, regulation was a lot looser, and I'm aware of nightmares of people losing their money, and the only people making any money were the investment companies themselves. There are road companies already operating since they've relaxed the pension rules and people are able to use their lump sums to go off and buy a Ferrari or whatever they're doing and not thinking about tomorrow. There's all sorts of nightmares, but there are companies around who are taking advantage of that.
I'm generally speaking a DIY investor. The only time I did have any advice was when I first took out the structured investment, the first time I had advice from the bank, and that's what introduced me to it. I wasn't aware of it at the time. Well, the structured investments I used to buy through the bank, but they don't do them anymore because the market has contracted a lot due to regulatory problems. So I purchased them through Lowe's, who are a specialist in structured investments. Venture capital trusts, I've invested originally very widely across a lot of them, small amounts. I've come to find that some were terrible, some were middling and some were great. So I've now sold a lot of the original ones, and I've now really only got about 4 different ones left now, and I purchased those directly from the Venture Capital Trust Management.
I didn't actually get any financial advice on pensions. Obviously the internet is a wonderful thing and you can find out quite a lot yourself. I don't know whether I trusted so-called financial advisors. I always had this suspicion that there was something in it for them, even though it might be put forward as a free service. The only advice really that I received was from a colleague in the company from which I received the pension, to say that this is a particularly good pension scheme. It's quite a small thing, but it's funded by a major pharmaceutical company who regularly contribute and top up the plan. And that if I was approached by anybody trying to get me to transfer into their scheme, not to do it. And that was the only advice that I took and stuck with, and I'm quite comfortable with how things eventually turned out.
What we have seen though is examples where advice has worked well and has not worked well for consumers. In cases where it's gone well, the customer's been able to let go and rely on the financial advisor. We've asked people how much have they got in their pension plan, and they say, I don't know, my advisor's looking after it, and they're quite relaxed about the whole matter. Financial advisors cannot see the future in that way, and we can't do that in our industry. We can't tell people who's going to win the 2:30 at Cheltenham, but we can help pensioners prepare for a happy afternoon at the races.